Contemporary Black Voices, and this is our hot topic segment. Now, a lot of stuff has been going on this week. We have seen Trump last week, him and Musk cancel out the Ebola research group, fire people who were supposed to be watching those nuclear reactors. We've got all kind of stuff going on, just to firings. We've got Musk doing these over the weekend. You've got till Monday. Give me your 5 things you have done last week type letters. And it goes on and on. And just when you think that it can't get any crazier, we all were shocked. Well, maybe not everybody, but the behavior in the Oval Office when Trump and J.D. Vance tag team the president of Ukraine, Zelensky. So we're going to talk about this playground bullying technique that they use. So what did you guys think about that whole, well, we got a segment we want to show real quick.
Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
So, okay, here we go. Now, I have to agree with Zelensky. I think that Trump is setting the United States for a very sad surprise when it comes to his best friend, Putin, maybe targeting the United States, one way or the other. You've got Russia, you've got China, you've got, who else is looking at us? North Korea looking at us.
Iran.
Iran. And we already know, let's be honest, our grid system here in the United States sucks. So I believe that that's one of the first things they're going to attack. Hence why those of you who are not preppers, you need to start prepping. You need to start prepping. So what do you guys thought about this fiasco?
First off, it was 2-on-1. That's typical of a mob. You get two people attacking one guy. That's Klan used to do. As Malcolm X used to say, ain't none of them brave by themselves. Mm-hmm. They come in a whole group. So both them, Trump and J.D. Vance, is attacking the guy at the same time. And they've perfected the art of what I call the scowl face. And I think they probably adopted that from Hitler, where you just look at people like this all the time. And that's supposed to scare you. And so they've mastered that look. And no matter, it's hard for them to smile about anything. So they're attacking him 2-on-1, scowl faces and all. And that's the way they operate. And then Hitler, it looks like Hitler to me. Hitler, I can't remember him ever smiling unless he was doing a private film at the house in Bavaria or somewhere. But this is a tactic. Look mean, look like a big macho man, look like a guy, a strong man. You call that a dictatorship. And then start dictating to whoever you're talking to what you want them to do. So I'm just talking about the political psychology of what I'm looking at, the graphic look of what we saw on TV. And I saw that first right off the top. So before we go any further, let me reintroduce, I did not introduce who's sitting on the panel with us. We have Mario Salas, who's a historian. We have Farrell Clark, who is a community activist and civil rights activist. Myself, Dr. Sharon Michael Chadwell, and then Caleb Alexander, who is a writer and researcher and working on his doctorate, which I'm so excited about. So let's go ahead and keep going. What did you see on this whole fiasco?
I was honestly just disappointed to see the whole thing devolve like that. I thought that it was instead of embarrassing Zelensky, I saw it as an embarrassment to America, because, I don't think that ever in politics should you ever have had that going on in front of the public, in front of the cameras. And I really saw Zelensky trying to explain himself.
For just
his
$5 million,
position,
you'll
and
soon
then
be
him
able to
being
buy.
accused of being ungrateful just because he wasn't going along with everything the president was saying. He had his own mind, and he was trying to speak honestly about what was going on in his country and the realities of his situation. And then, like Mario says, a bully-like mentality came that if you're not going to hold and you're not going to, if you're not going to stick to our talking points, then we're going to bully on you. Then it became to a degrading factor of telling him, your country, you don't have enough soldiers, your country is weak, you don't have the cards in your hand. And I was sad to see that. I just thought that you don't treat allies like that. And I think something that Zelensky said that was powerful, I've had this conversation before, is that when you go around, and some people right now are in favor of what he's doing, saving money, making people pay their fare, whatever you call it. What I think is that when you go around to all of your allies and you start to treat them like enemies or like hostiles, you will find yourself in a position where one day you depend on those allies and they no longer are there. We've seen ourselves go against Canada. We've seen talks in Panama. We've seen talks against Greenland. We've seen talks now against Ukraine. Mexico. These are our closest neighbors and allies. And to me, I don't want the person who has, my back door to let in the enemy. I would think that you want to build bridges instead of these walls that we keep seeing put up around. And I just don't think that America isolated is a good America.
Well, to your point about our allies, I did see a whole list of countries who are supporting Zelensky. And one of the things you have to keep in mind is that I don't know why Trump feels what side agreement he has with Putin to where he is totally abdicating the United States as a leader of the free world. But I do know that these European countries, they have a right to be concerned, because although Zelensky, when he came over here, he wants some reassurances for Ukraine. And I was reading last night that Putin did a drone attack on a hospital system. So these European countries have every right to be concerned, because Poland especially have a right to be concerned. So they have to pull together now and support Zelensky, because they can't. It's sad to say, it's embarrassing, because my father, and I know my father, my brother, my uncles, everybody has someone in the family who has fought in the military to maintain the democracy of within this country, and we have someone who has never, ever been in the military making decisions that could and will pulverize our democracy.
My point is this: so it was embarrassing for this country, but as the U.S. kind of recedes, China is surging forward.
Yes.
And so what's going to happen is every time you have a show like that or a fiasco like that, the rest of the world is watching. They're watching America's fickleness. They're watching America's unreliability as an ally. And they're turning to a China that's reassuring them. Yeah. You know what I mean? We have this Belt and Road Initiative. We're going to help you develop. We're not going to be bullies. We're not going to demand this or that. I mean, and so what's going to happen is America is completely ceding its leadership in the world to China. And you have to ask yourself, is that a world that you want to live in, where it's Chinese leadership and dominance? Right now, Western leadership has completely shifted toward Europe. Mm-hmm. They're the leaders of the free world right now, undoubtedly. And they're the ones who are holding the line and have to hold the line. I think the American people have to understand something. If Putin takes Ukraine, he's not going to stop. He's going to have the resources of Ukraine now, and he's going to turn around and focus on Western Europe. Putin has this idea. They have this idea of what they call the near abroad, of reconquering former Soviet satellite states, of which you have Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, which are now NATO countries. And so if he decides to go and turn west and try to reestablish himself and reestablish control, now you have a real war. That's when you have a hot war. Mm-hmm. My other point is this, though. Can you even imagine FDR telling Churchill, give me half the resources of the British Empire if you want this Lend-Lease program. You know what I mean? If we had that same mentality in 1938, 1939, or even 1918, when we went over there to fight the Kaiser, you have to give us half your resources in order for us to defend democracy.
And so, and Trump even told Zelensky, "You can trust me." We don't know.
No, no. But I mean, just if that was the case, where we demanded something to fight and stand up for freedom and democracy around the world, half of us be speaking German and the other half be speaking Japanese right now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so it is. We've never been a country that has demanded a price for freedom and democracy, for standing up for what's right or standing up for justice in the world.
Free.
Right. I mean, you can't even fathom that kind of world where might makes right and where the strong dominate this planet. It is not a democratic world. It is a world I guarantee you that you would not want to live in.
And that's the conversation that I've been having with some of the people that I know that are on the other side. I'm saying, it sounds great when you are the bully on campus. You have to imagine a world where you're not the big dog on campus and all those things that you've set up that you believe that, hey, whoever is the strongest, that's who wins. Well, it comes a day when you're not the big guy on campus anymore. And if you believe that the stronger can roll over the weak, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Mm-hmm. America's strong today, but where are we at 100 years from now? And to me, it's just a recipe for disaster.
One thing that bothers me is often when I think about the backers that Trump has. His backers are billionaires. Mm-hmm. And he brings them on stage and running around with him. He's got a billionaire crowd that back him financially. So when I look at what he does and hear him speak and what he's speaking to his own financial gain. And that's the bottom line for him. So it's not that hard for me to understand why he's doing what he's doing. It's all about money as far as he's concerned. And I wouldn't be surprised if he negotiated a Trump Tower in the middle of Moscow.
Well, he's already talking Trump Gaza.
Yeah, in Gaza to create a Riviera. It's all about money for him. His backers are billionaires. So he's got all these very wealthy people backing him. And, of course, he's got the people that got no sense at all, the very ignorant, the white supremacists, they're backing him. And he tapped into that. He tapped into the people who have been marginalized in whatever way. Even if the marginalization is imagined, because you get some poor white guy, now he's thinking black people are the reason why he's poor. Right. So Trump becomes a hero for him. Right. So the marginalized in the white community gravitate toward him because he's the big, strong man that's going to change everything. So it's all, for me, the way I look at Trump, it's all based about him building a base with the very ignorant in order to make himself more wealthy, and he will do whatever he has to do. He'll sign a contract with Satan if he has to, if it's going to mean building another Trump Tower somewhere in hell if he has to do it.
And the other thing we have to keep track of, I don't even know if this is a distraction, because the reason I'm saying it's because Musk was nowhere in that room that we saw, right? But we do see he's getting multi-billion-dollar contracts with the government. He's getting all these contracts as he's slicing, quote unquote, the budget. He's gaining all these contracts. So this is a sad day, a sad week in U.S. history. This is going to be one of these discussions that will probably be talked about from here on out. And I guess before we go on to the next segment, how many years or decades will it take for the United States to get back to at least to where we are respected?
One thing I'll say about Zelensky, he should have talked to some black folks before he came here, because they could have told him what Trump is doing to the black community. They could have told him, other people too, women could have told him, brown people could have told him, he's dismantling everything, trying to dismantle civil rights. And so Zelensky should have known he was walking into the devil's den, or the wolf's lair, if you want to look at it that way. So that's important, because he's trying to destroy civil rights. He's trying to destroy all the stuff that people fought for, gave their lives for, voting rights. He's trying to do all of that. get rid of DEI, get rid of Black history, get rid of all of that stuff. And so somebody maybe should have, if nothing
Pull
else,
his
whispered in
coattail.
Zelensky's ear, I'm telling you now, he's out to kill us. You're next. And if Americans don't have a chance, you know he didn't have a chance at all.
Mario, what I see to that point is he has Musk in his ear. Musk is an apartheidist, and these people are trying to do a complete reordering of American society.
Tell us why Musk is apartheid.
Huh?
Tell us why Musk is apartheid. Where does he come from?
Oh, he grew up in South Africa. 100% South African. He didn't leave South Africa until after he graduated high school. All of his formative years, that is the society he knows, he loves, he believes in.
So why didn't he just go back to South Africa?
Oh no, he's going to turn this into South Africa. That's his goal. It's a goal. It's a symbiotic relationship between the apartheidists and the white nationalists and the Confederates. And I was saying, they need to rename the goal. Goal for the Confederacy so that they can battle it out with the neo-Nazis and the
Caleb, you and I both can count on the fact that Musk is going to go after South Africa at some point.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they already have.
Yeah.
So they've canceled all trade agreements with South Africa. They placed a lot of the South African personnel on sanctions list.
The aid, they cut the aid.
Yeah, all that's already done.
He's the only South African we wish he would go back to Africa.
I think there are two more tech billionaires that are from South Africa who are also. Peter Thiel is one of them, yeah. So there are a couple of other big-time South African billionaires who over here who have their ear. And so that's one of the reasons they're telling South African white farmers, come on over.
And Peter Thiel funded
They're still mad at Mandela. Yeah. They're still mad at Mandela.
I tell you what, they're trying to reorder this society and to make it where your black job is going to be similar to what your black job was in South Africa.
See, this is what I'm hoping before we go to the next topic. This is what I'm hoping. I know that he's trying to get a spaceship up to Mars. Bezos is trying to get a spaceship, I think, up to Mars. So this is what I'm praying. Not praying, but this is what I'm thinking. All these billionaires and oligarchs, just get on the spaceship. Now you can take your pick, Musk or Bezos. Because it's we don't know what type of safety issues they may have because he's deregulated that Musk has had that deregulated, and it's going up to Mars. Start your own colony somewhere else.
Don't come back.
None of us are going.
They need workers. You can't be a billionaire without exploiting workers.
Right now we are concerned about flying from here to Dallas and coming out alive. So we're not going to get on a spaceship from here to Mars.
I forgot about that. South Africa don't want him either, so one-way ticket to Mars is the best place for him to go.
Yeah.
So next on our list is, you want to come to the United States? If you got $5 million, if you think you're an oligarch, guess what you can get? The $5 million immigration gold card, compliments of that person. Yes, Trump. We got a video on that?
$5 million, you'll soon be able to buy a permanent U.S. residency card and be fast-tracked for citizenship. That's what U.S. President Donald Trump is offering up.
We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million.
Trump is targeting wealthy foreigners and skilled laborers with the new gold cards, replacing the existing EB-5 Immigrant Investor Program.
So I want to know, who are the skilled laborers who have $5 million?
Let me check right quick.
It's not here.
What do you call it? What do they call it? Not slaves, but indentured servant type program.
Or you can come over.
You can come over, but
that is the. You know what? That is the stupidest idea that they probably one of the stupid people who have $5 million to spend on a card. They come in and out of this country anyway. It doesn't matter. They flying it out of on their private jets, flying it out of this country, shop, do whatever. And the people who have that kind of money don't want to live in this country anyway.
No, they're doing just fine where they're at.
They're just fine. Those people are living in London. They're living in Paris. They're living in Dubai. They don't want to live here. That is the dumbest idea this man. One of the dumbest. I can't say this the dumbest because he's had plenty of dumb ones, but this is one of the dumbest. These people don't want to come here and live here.
We already know that tonight, tomorrow, next week, he's going to top this.
Yeah.
But in the interim,
Yeah.
it's one of the dumbest things I've
It
heard
is.
so far. But the fact that they had the indentured servants, I mean, the skilled laborers, that sounds like indentured servants.
They ain't paying for that because all the what I call them the technogarchy. So all of the technogarchs, Musk and all of those guys, they're skilled labor that comes from India. They don't pay. They're not going to pay for that $5 million. Those people are going to bring those people in on the H1 worker visas anyway, and exploit them. They're not paying for that $5 million. That is the stupidest idea I've heard of in my life.
Supposedly they have 250,000 people already lined up waiting for this gold card.
no.
Are you
And they
serious?
said that it could reduce this, it's gonna take away the $36 trillion in debt.
Oh my
But,
God.
you know, the problem with that is the math doesn't add up.
Well, see, this is why it doesn't add up
It
because
doesn't add up.
there seems to me it's going to be some type of under the table deal. It's $5 million, but cut me too.
I don't like the idea. I don't like the thoughts or the idea of if we have an immigration problem and we have to get these people out of our country, but we don't mind the ones that have $5 million. We don't mind bringing them in, or we don't mind if you're a white South African,
Right.
or we'll actually prioritize
Right.
your citizenship, but everyone else has got to go.
You got to be rich and white.
That's the message that's
the
being
message.
sent out.
You know what
That's
I
the
mean?
message that's being
But
sent
I mean, if I had $5 million to just blow on a card, I wouldn't be in this country. I'd be living somewhere else. If I had $5 million just to blow on something like that, that is dumb.
Because Oprah done moved to Italy.
Hey, I don't blame her. I'd be in the chop that. I mean, I'd be in, you know what?
Rigatone.
Yeah, I'd be in Dubai, and I'd be in London, and I'd be.
Because Ellen DeGeneres moved to London.
If you had that kind of money to drop, there's no reason to be here.
Okay. And then finally, let's talk about the descent of Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City.
Well, what did he do? Let's talk about well, I knew what he was going to do when they said he was a retired police officer.
So what do you think?
That already smelled bad to me.
So what did he do?
Well, what did he do? He caved in on the immigration policies. And New York had probably one of the worst problem with a number of immigrants
You've been in
that
the
come to
news
New
all
York
week.
because
The
the
Department of
programs,
Justice
the
dropped
programs
the
that they
criminal
had did
corruption
served really
charges
well.
against you. The U.S. attorney here in New York City, the Southern District, she quit yesterday, the acting U.S. attorney. And so did 5 members of the Department of Justice because they felt like being forced by the Department of Justice to drop the corruption charges was inappropriate and they should not have asked. And what she said was, you offered to help with the migration problem and the immigration agenda in exchange for the case being dropped.
Think about that.
So,
That's what he did.
so do you think he's going to end up going to jail, federal prison, or you think that
Not as long
he's
as
got
Trump.
quite-
Not as long as Trump. And if he does, he's going to get pardoned because he did the will of Donald Trump, to make a long
he
story
kissed the ring?
Yeah, he's been paid off, or he will be paid off.
What do you think? You think he can kiss the ring enough to get pardoned?
Oh yeah. And Eric Adams, I mean, he knows where the bones are buried as far as Trump's deals in New York, as far as his permits, as far as his cases, his bribery. He knows where the bones are buried. So that pardon was coming anyway, regardless. You know what I mean? The immigration stuff is just the stuff on the surface. You know what I mean? But yeah, he you know, hey, it pays to know where the bones are buried. You know what I mean?
Well, he joins the club of Clarence Thomas and Tim Scott and all the rest of them. And you know the words.
That's a
for that.
special.
We
That's
have
a
a special
special
name.
club. But what we're going to go ahead and do is we had a very lively discussion today, and as we like to say, this is Contemporary Black Voices, where we tell our story our way.
All right.
What's that noise?
That was lively.
I don't want to confuse. He